Hello and welcome. I'm Manisha Gupta, and this week on Commodity Champions, we steer the conversation towards the healthy snack, which is dry fruits. This consumer segment is valued at over 9,000 crore rupees in India, and it is the second biggest consumer for cashews, peanuts and almonds. It's also the third largest consumer for raisins and fourth largest for dried figs. Now, the onset of winters and the wedding season is also set to add to the growing demand for dry fruits. To discuss the industry's outlook, concerns and demand trajectory, I am now joined by Ravindra Mehta. He's director of the International Fruits and Nuts Organization. Rajat Bola is founder of director of Bolas Agro. We're also joined by Gunjan Jain, who's managing director and chief executive officer at VKC Nuts. Gentlemen, hi, thank you so much for joining us. And Gunjan, let's start with you because it's your birthday to begin with. And we would also want to understand on what is the dry fruit market that does seem like in India, and why did you think, or why did you guys think that there was a scope and need for a national council of dry fruits in the country?
Okay, so Indian nuts and dried fruit industry is among the fastest growing industries today. We are almost at, as you rightly said, about 9,000 crores on a retail level. And this industry, after the advent of COVID, I think everybody got very conscious on health. And because of that, I think the consumption increased because of the immunity. I mean, these are nature's health pills, all nuts and dried fruits. So all that led to a much higher consumption. And India is among the fastest growing markets and also among the largest markets, as you've seen. So while we thought of this council, was the reason was to just get a pan-India level representation of every commodity and every center, every geography of India, to get an association of people. So this is one of the most underrepresented industries in the segment today, because earlier it was highly unorganized. It still is a mix between organized and unorganized. It's moving towards an organized segment, but it's just about 25% of this industry is organized and 75% still remains in the unorganized sector. Having said that, the potential and growth is enormous. The whole world has eyes on India now. For this, we are seeing excellent traction on the whole industry as such. So that was the reason we thought we'll get together and form this council and get everybody together. Yeah.
Oh, well, absolutely. You know, that is where my next question comes in from. A 25% organized and a 75% unorganized market as we see it. Mr. Mehta, how would you look at these, brackets that we have within the industry here? I mean, this is one area or one segment which clearly is looking at a huge jump up. As Gunjan also mentioned, since COVID, the demand has been quite on the stronger side. I mean, you talk to everybody around and you have dry fruits now in sweets, you have them in ice creams, cereals, even farsan for that matter, and even a biryani for that matter. I mean, you have dry fruits making inroads into various foods right now. How would you look at this, and what's your sense? Are we moving towards organized market anytime soon?
Thanks, Manisha, for having me on your show. First of all, a very happy birthday to my colleague Gunjan. And it's a great day for us that we are on this show representing a commodity, which is actually the champion of commodities. When I say champion, because it is widely accepted for your health reasons, it is becoming an immunity booster. And post-COVID, I think the demand has been so phenomenal that, India today consumes about 1.3 million tons of various nuts and dry fruits. And, being a commodity nut, champion commodity, we are actually striving for making it a commodity for masses. Now, all segments of our supply chain, starting from confectionery to sweet makers to table snack, is with this healthy choice of nuts and dry fruits. Now, when you ask a question about it being into an organized trade and unorganized trade, so what we consider organized trade is the e-commerce, the brick and mortar stores, the organized stores like which we have seen since 2003-4, have come up in such a way that the visibility of dry fruits as a commodity is creating more buzz with the consumer when they get a choice to go and buy a nut of their choice, a brand of their choice. Earlier, this choice was not available to the consumer. They couldn't understand, they couldn't see the product availability, the quality of product. But looking at the geographical and the demographics of India, I personally feel that there is a limitation to an organized trade in India, and this trade will always remain in the hands of unorganized sector or probably the mom and pop stores. And that is where our strength comes of penetrating into the smaller towns, smaller villages, whereas the challenges of the organized trades are much stronger than creating more buzz into the smaller sectors, smaller states, smaller cities, where the demand and the growth we see in the coming days. So I think it's a champion commodity in terms of the benefits it gives you. It's a champion commodity in terms of the value proposition, and it gives you the best benefits of health, Manisha.
It clearly does that. So, as you mentioned, there are so many options to choose from now. Well, I remember growing up, you would buy dry fruits and you wouldn't even know what brand you were buying. So, yes, as you rightly said, it largely has been an unorganized market. Rajat, this one is to you. So, the other thing really is about value addition, various options available. People wanted it in a certain way. Presentation, packaging seems to be becoming more important as well.
Absolutely. So good evening to everyone and happy birthday to Gunjan, first of all. Getting back to the industry, I think the consumption has definitely moved from a very unorganized way of packing to a sealed pouch kind of a category wherein the customer has a choice of various products where you can see and purchase the product. And brand has also become quite critical now, especially in the 20 to 25% retail sector. First of all, in the value-added segment, initially the demand was for fried cashews or fried almonds in that particular category when it started. Now the demand has gone from the fried nuts category to a dry roasted nuts category, and then from there to a cereal bar or a nut bar and that kind of a consumption. And looking at the industry in particular, we've seen premiumization across the board. So initially when sugar replacement was to be seen, date sugar was used or a date syrup was used as a sugar replacement. And now even in sweets, we are seeing a usage of anjeer and other dry fruits, or the more premium dry fruits in the category. So this is what we are seeing in the value-added segment.
So clearly that is the industry where the consumer preferences seem to be changing, and we are looking at a stronger demand, whether it's for healthy snacking or even for various other food options there. Gunjan, one concern that the industry clearly has had for some time has been the various taxes, and that makes it for slightly not competitive or expensive final product going forward. Is that a concern that you see? Is that what you're putting forth to the regulators too?
That's a major, major concern. India is one of the most heavily taxed countries when it comes to nuts and dried fruits. Just to give you an example, walnuts invite 100% tariff. So it's almost above a luxury. So we are at a very punitive taxation when it comes to nuts. And because of that, of course, the affordability of this very healthy product. Our Prime Minister talked about now after the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, he talked about a Swasth Bharat Abhiyan. So these are nature's pills, and we would really want, I would use your platform to request the government that this is healthy food stuff for the common man of India. India is a very vegetarian country, and walnut is among the major non-fish source of omega-3s. And for protein, it's a handful of pistachios is as much protein as an egg. So if we are able to make it more affordable, it's a very healthy alternative. We've been trying to make the honorable government understand that and get this healthy commodity in a better pricing. Just to give you a number, and I put that number out, we say India, the market has been really growing at 7%, 8% CAGR. I think it's going to grow even further. We are looking at a target of about a 15% CAGR, but still, walnuts, China, I just want to put it out just to give you a context. China and India, similar populations. But just because of more affordability, China today consumes 800,000 tons of walnuts a year. And India, because of where we are just able to consume about 70,000 tons because we are essentially more than doubling the price of the commodity that it actually is available internationally. So if we can actually have this thing solved, I think the market will grow even further. We are looking at a 9,000 crore market.
Okay.
We see that it can very quickly grow by leaps and bounds. And we would really seek the support of the industry and everybody to try and get this healthy product at a much more affordable price to all the Indian consumers.
Oh, absolutely. Rajat, what's your sense? What are the concerns that the industry is looking at right now? And especially when it comes to cashews, how would you look at the growth going forward?
So just to give you a snapshot, in 2010, we were looking at a global crop of around 25 lakh tons of raw cashew nut. And today we are estimating this year to be 55 lakh tons. So the growth has been phenomenal in cashews. And out of this 55 lakh tons, around 20 lakh tons are imported to India. This oversupply situation has been compensated more or less by a growth in demand, and we are seeing cashew is still the king in dry fruits in India, right? So if you compare this to a kernel equivalent of almonds is still 2 lakh tons. But that growth of almonds has been from 40,000 tons in 2010 to 2 lakh tons in 2023. So the growth across the dry fruits category has been phenomenal, especially in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. The challenge is to actually provide these products both affordably as well as give a convenience to the customer, a tier 2, tier 3 customer, because why has the market grown from 40,000 tons to 2 lakh tons in almonds? It's because of 3 reasons. One is it has gone from a festive demand to a 365-day demand. We've been able to create a daily consumption of the product, right? The major challenge, however, is to create reposition nuts or premium nuts from an elite focus to a mass focus. Because the moment we are able to do so, we'll be able to contribute more and more towards the nutritional benefit of a common Indian citizen. And this is definitely possible through technology. I mean, from my own experience, I can talk about how we've been able to use technology to provide greater and greater value to the end customer, try to reduce the all the other costs and try to pass it on to the end customer. And I think that is what we are seeing. The growth which we are seeing is because of the implementation of both technology as well as players like the organized players being able to consolidate both in backward integration as well as forward.
Totally, Rajat. I mean, as you mentioned about that relevance of 10 years ago and right now, yes, there's a lot of change on how dry fruits clearly have become a part of our daily consumption there. But on that note, it's time for a short break. Don't go anywhere. Our guests are with us. We will discuss with them the projections, outlook, and of course, the concerns that the industry faces.